Welcome back, guys, to a brand new video. Now today we are going to be talking about a bit of content that has been removed from ARK Survival Ascended as part of Bob's Tall Tales. And there's a reason behind this. I'm going to be explaining it to you guys in today's video. I know there's been a lot of people that have been very upset about this decision because people have said they've paid for it, Wildcard haven't given them something back in return, and we're going to be talking about it today. So if you guys do enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. If you're new around here, come and join us in the LoadedCrysis cluster for free 100 server Ragnarok servers with even better ping. And yeah, let's get in with the video. So yes, as you will see, we had the big quality of life and balance patch yesterday, and this was for all platforms. This gave us the summer bash, this gave us a makeover in Club ARK, like Phoenixes were breedable, the Dreadnought has got a humongous nerf, like 40% reduced health, and also within this was removed poker table from Bob's Tall Tales and the base game content to comply with ESRB rating requirements. Now, I did a little bit of digging into this because I was really interested to why this has actually happened, and apparently, from what I've heard, the ESRB rating requirements or whatever have actually been cracking down on many games, not just ARK. Apparently it's happened in Roblox, apparently it might have happened in Fortnite too, and I think there might have been another game that someone mentioned to me. So any game that kind of has a lot of custom created content and people have made themselves their own like kind of poker rooms and stuff like that, they've decided to crack down on that, and they've said, we don't want this in your game anymore. And a lot of people got annoyed with Studio Wildcard about this, and I don't believe we should. So a lot of people have been saying to me, like, you know, Studio Wildcard need to replace this with something because I paid for content and they've taken away something that I paid for. Now, I actually agree with you guys there. I do think Studio Wildcard should look to add something else into Bob's Tall Tales as a, just whatever it is, just something to give back after taking something away. I completely agree with that. But unfortunately, this change had to be made from Studio Wildcard side, and it's generally not their fault. The ESRB will change their rating requirements whenever they feel like they need to, and it probably all goes down under a court of law. And if Studio Wildcard didn't act on this fast, they could have got themselves in some serious legal trouble. And unfortunately, as much as people feel really upset about how they've had something taken away from them, and you know, they like, it's one of the most awesome things that you can do, like just chill out, play some poker with your friends in ARK. You know, who remembers doing it in Red Dead Redemption 2? You might still be doing it in Red Dead Redemption 2, but unfortunately, this is just something that Studio Wildcard have no control over. Now, the reason it's in games like Red Dead Redemption 2 and they won't be affected is because it's an 18+ game. And if I'm correct, ARK is a 15+ game, which unfortunately that means that there's not just adults that will be playing this game. So it's a real shame. I'm really upset to see this go. I do understand that, you know, there's some people saying, oh, come on, it's not really that much of a big of a deal and stuff. And I just want to explain one story to you guys of something I actually knew about, and I feel like this happens quite a lot. And I'm not saying, this is me sounding like old man Dom now, but I just want to be honest with you with this actual situation I saw and why this is probably the reason these types of things have been put into place. So obviously gambling is a serious issue. Like, you can have so much fun with gambling, as long as you do it, you're not doing it every day and going crazy, because it can become an addiction. And I actually knew a story about someone that, used to play like that FIFA Ultimate Team, and they used to you could open it's like loot crates, right? And I'm sure this happens in so many other games. And they were opening these sort of loot crates and these packs and things like that, and it was so addictive to them. It was like, I need the best card. And they did tend to show you like what the percentages were that you could get these good cards. but it was very rare. So you're spending hundreds and hundreds opening these packs, and they never got anything good. Now, this, and then when they did once, it gave them that kind of thrill to do it again. Now, this is obviously completely different because there's not real money with the poker table within Bob's Tall Tales. So I do understand the argument there. But I saw this from a person who started this within a game, and that turned into then real life gambling. So it went from playing it on a game, which fair enough was real money, and then this was from a young age, by the way. So this is someone I actually knew growing up. And then that turned into gambling in real life as we got older. And then that side of things got really bad within gambling because of the addiction that came from the FIFA Ultimate Team. And I feel like that can really give someone an addictive nature. And I feel so old saying this, but because I've seen it, when I think about, if someone that isn't an adult gets into playing poker early, I think it's like, it can be quite a cool thing, 100%. But I'm just saying that if it gets someone into things like this earlier, it could put them down a bad path in the future. Now, of course, you're probably all sitting there being like, look at this old man Dom. What's he turned into? Like 5 years ago, he wouldn't have cared. And I still get that. I have that same feeling. But because I saw it growing up, I kind of do understand why these types of changes have been put in. Because, when you're younger, think about when you're younger and you're thrilled by everything, aren't you? You're really excited about things that maybe you shouldn't do as well, being a thrill seeker. And this, again, isn't that deep whatsoever, and I really don't see the problem with it being in the game. But I just wanted to highlight, because there's no real money involved, but I just wanted to highlight how that can sometimes go from just being a bit of fun and actually turn into serious addictions down the line. But it's annoying because I loved it, and me and my cluster, we were planning on doing all of these poker nights coming up soon. We were going to do some really awesome events, obviously being 18 plus, and it's a shame that there is some, maybe even certain content Studio Wildcard could like put in the game that was like 18 plus content. I don't know, maybe that's something they could have looked at, but I guess that would have been a lot more stress for them to actually sort out, and they decided to comply with the new ESRB rating requirements. Now, we're going to quickly dive into the Reddit because the Reddit had quite a lot to say about this. So this person in the Reddit said, we removed the poker table to comply with the ESRB. And they go on to say, meanwhile, the World Series of Poker game from 20 years ago carries an everyone rating. And it says, come on, Wildcard, why would you really get rid of the poker table? Yeah, I bring back the poker table, even if it's just an optional mod. It's one of the few good things about Bob's Tall Tales. And this person said it was one of the few good things about Bob's Tall Tales. Seriously, dude, this same Bob's Tall Tales that gives us traits, the same Bob's Tall Tales that gives us the bio grinder, the same Bob's Tales that give us the tribe tower, the same Bob's Tall Tales that gives us the gene scanner. And yeah, people were saying, but they said they need to make it up to the Bob's Tall Tale purchases period, replace it with a pool table or old school darts board, or make it a free mod that can have an M rating on it with its own without impacting the overall rating. To remove paid content displayed in the DLC trailer without any good faith effort to make people who pay. Oh yeah, so I understand, and I do understand about that a lot. I really, really do. Oh wait, look at this. Legal rulings around gambling in video games has created a lot of noise in the EU and ES in the past few years. I imagine the ESRB has changed their guidelines to be very aggressive again. Yeah, no, that is literally what it is. And that goes back to the point I was talking about earlier. There's been some serious cases of people spending crazy amounts of money on these FIFA games. Not just FIFA, it's been other games too that have their loot crates in there, and it's actually gone on to have serious addictions. And because I actually knew it happening around me, that's why I've understood this. But then at the same time, I do really agree with this person here saying, can they make it a free mod that doesn't get in the way of anything? But then unfortunately, I don't know how I don't even know if that's possible. But yeah, maybe a pool table or an old school darts board. That sounds like good ideas, nothing that has like actual gambling in it. And I think, yeah, that is what we need to look forward to with hopefully Wildcard will look into. Like maybe from this video, they'll see me talk about this and they'll maybe think about doing this, because I definitely know, I've been told as well, there's been times that Studio Wildcard have watched the videos and they have actually made certain changes where I'm not saying just completely within the game, but whether that's a post or whatever. So if you are watching the Studio Wildcard, I do feel like the community would deserve something in replace for this, because they did pay for it. But yeah, so this was actually a really interesting point here that I saw. So this person said, were you able to upload real money to gamble with or something? Why on earth? I played James Bond game on Game Boy for 25 to 30 years that had blackjack on it. Should that be under fire too? And this point here said, though you could probably actually use it for actual gambling, Lord knows EVE online players manage to find ways to gamble in game. And I think that's the difference between having, that's the difference between having, so it's multiplayer, right? So these games would be single player, so you were only playing against a computer. Whereas with these games, they could probably actually, some people could literally have their own poker tournaments and put real money up for grabs, like whether they're in a Discord together and they're right, that they can gamble with it not happening with real money in game, but then they can do it themselves. And I know it's like, that why should someone be stopped from doing that? And I understand that too, but unfortunately, that's probably the ways they're seeing it now. And, it does suck for official, as this person says here. It is a shame. And where was the other one that I just read about the wheel? Someone said so. Oh, yeah, the curious thing to me is why the spin the wheels in Club ARK are okay if the poker table isn't. Now, I think we want to try and keep that quiet. No, we don't want anything else removed from it. I mean, these kind of new sort of situations and stuff, like, we don't really want to highlight anything, because unfortunately, as the world does go on, things constantly do seem to get more strict. Things do seem to get, there's more laws that get put into place, and I think it's anything they kind of find that could be a damage, to people growing up, they put into place. And I'm not saying, a lot of the time that's a good thing, but sometimes they do take it too far and start banning things that, don't really need to be banned. But that's kind of my sort of opinion on it. I wanted to be honest about my opinion on it, because I feel like that, from what I'd seen, that's why I wanted to share my opinion on it. But again, I don't think it's as deep as what, like, FIFA Ultimate Team are getting away with right now, or what does CSGO do, stuff like that, loot crates or whatever. But yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one very soon.